Part 80. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 791. Chapter 791 Doctor. On the broken screen, a big S+ flashed its last light. The two people dropped the pictorial and knocked over the water glass on the table. The water flow instantly caused the equipment to burst into flames. Turn off the power switch, hurry, otherwise this place will be scrapped. One hurriedly turned off the electric switch, and the other kicked open the connected power supply. The test room was very quiet. One person looked back at the screen. I saw that correctly, that's S+, right. The other one stretched his neck and murmured, I thought I saw it wrong. Two people look at each other at the same time. Wait. S+. Report to your superiors quickly, we have an S and on the 900th floor. This is a Super S, let me go. There is a Super S on the 900th floor. The two people were walking too fast and bumped into each other at the same time, squeezing against the doorframe. Zhang Xiaoxiao walked to the door, but the service staff outside was not there. She thought the test was just a formality. In fact, those people thought the same way. They were originally planning to leave, and their physical strength was B-level at best. They were already used to the garbage on the 900th floor. The best resources and the best talented combatants in the shelter are on the 100th floor, where is the goal and yearning of people's life. Facing the mediocre 900-level scum, it has been difficult for them to maintain their enthusiasm and state of work. None of them paid attention to the test, and the results were already known. But Xiao Li was now twisted and lying between the two doors, and there was another person pressing on her. That person is the person from the exchange center opposite, and he is about to open the door and come out. A shock wave came over, and he flew out inexplicably, and the door connected to his hand hit Xiao Li, who was standing at the door and turned around to leave. Seeing his legs twisted to a weird degree, Lu, the boss of the exchange center, wanted to die. When he saw his leg just now, he didn't feel any pain yet. It hurts like right now. My own legs. It's over. This leg is going to be useless. If you get a broken bone on the 900th floor without leaving any problems, you are lucky. The air pollution on the 900th floor is serious and the radiation is the most severe. People here have been exposed to the harsh environment and their bodies have long been riddled with holes. They can survive without illness or disaster. The one who came down was an alien. They are all B-level strong men. These staff members? Sorry, they are all F-class waste, but their bodies have been enhanced by the enhancement effect of the day after tomorrow. Actually the same piece of crap. Now that my legs are like this, I wouldn't believe it even if I didn't lose them. Medical clinic? Sorry, they looked down on the medical clinic on the 700th floor. Xiao Li, who was lying under the door panel beneath him, had severe pain in his chest and was vomiting blood intermittently. The same goes for Xiao Li. Zhang Xiaoxiao saw the scene when he walked to the door. Then he turned around and looked at the passage that had been lit up again, as if there had been a power outage just now. But she was the only one who knew that Songzian's spiritual consciousness left behind caused great trouble. Now it hurt someone. Zhang Xiaoxiao rushed over without saying a word. This was her fault. There were many people watching, but sadly no one stretched out their hands. Yali was crowded in the crowd, waiting for Zhang Xiaoxiao to come out. She and Xiao came with Zhang Xiaoxiao. Zhang Xiaoxiao wanted to see if the exchange center could find the ultimate cause of malnutrition. Zhang Xiaoxiao checked them all and found that they were all malnourished. As a result, as soon as Zhang Xiaoxiao entered, there was a huge explosive airflow, and then it was comparable to the scene of a giant monster attack. Yali and Xiao Wu are in a hurry. I'm afraid that something might happen to my baby Danjiang Xiaoxiao. Then I saw Zhang Xiaoxiao rushing out. Fortunately, he was still intact. The two of them were sweating coldly and they could stop. Then he saw Zhang Xiaoxiao kneeling down to lift the man down. Come help, hurry. Zhang Xiaoxiao saw that Xiao Li's face was whiter than the paper, he was vomiting blood, and his eyes were distracted. This was a sign of internal rupture. Yali and Xiao hurriedly came up to help. Others watched the excitement, but no one raised a hand. Xiao Li is so unlucky. Why is the accident so serious? If someone dies, it will be over. Xiao Li is still the pace setter in our exchange center this month. She is said to be promoted. She is most likely to be transferred to the 800th floor. That's unfortunate enough. The treatment is on the 700th floor. The problem is that we can't afford it. Can't you stop watching the fun? Send this broken person to treatment. Zhang Xiaoxiao yelled, is human nature like this? Obviously, I was my colleagues a while ago. I didn't want to save people when I had something to do. This human nature has become like this because of the collapse of the world. The only people shelters can protect are these indifferent people? Zhang Xiaoxiao felt that the meteorite ring was intentional. Are you mocking your indifference towards Wu Weiguo? Or should you tell yourself that you should receive re-education? No matter what kind of situation, Zhang Xiaoxiao, who lived in a peaceful era, had never seen such indifference of human nature. Others looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao as if they were dumbfounded. Is this man sick? That's it? The treatment center? That's where we go? If you're injured, go back to recuperate. You should eat and drink. If you're dead, you'll fall down. This is the 900th floor, not the 700th floor, nor the 500th floor. What's the point? Talk. Stop talking, let's go to work. Everyone dispersed in a hurry. Zhang Xiaoxiao glanced at the old Lu with a distorted face. Girl, I thank you for your kindness. But this is the 900th floor. You must have come down from the upper level at first glance, right? The 900th floor is different from other places. The lives of people here are it is worthless. Xiao Li and I are fate. I can still survive. At most, my legs are lame, but I am afraid that Xiao Li really has a life. A good girl, as beautiful as a flower, is in her prime, what a pity. Old Lu obviously doesn't even feel the sadness of the death of a rabbit or a fox. Zhang Xiaoxiao said without saying a word, Sister Yali, Xiao, carry the person in. The lights are bright there, and I need a table, which can be used as an operating table. Do you understand what I mean? Zhang Xiaoxiao will not ignore death. She is a doctor, and this time it is related to her. Yuli nodded, and Xiao nodded stupidly, not knowing what to do. But it's definitely right to follow Sister Yali. Two people went to find a table. Zhang Xiaoxiao was setting the bones of the elder Lu. Be patient, if you don't straighten the bones, you will have problems with your legs. I am a doctor, a licensed doctor, don't worry. No sound. Zhang Xiaoxiao raised his head. Why is there no sound? You won't faint from the pain. Lifting his eyes, old Lu stared at her intently. You, what do you say you are? Lao Lu felt that he was hearing hallucinations. Crazy. The world is completely crazy. Doctor. That kind of creature is in the medical clinic and is the master of human beings. They only have 10 doctors in the entire asylum. 10. One is more valuable than the other, and one is more arrogant than the other. Is the existence they look up to. It is the shelter of those high-level managers, but it has nothing to do with them. I'm a doctor, don't worry, I'm licensed. It may hurt, but you have to endure it. A crowd of people around laughed. Are you a doctor? Haha. This is the funniest joke of the year. We actually have a doctor on the 900th floor. A doctor is really born. Haha, I'm going crazy. You are so lucky, old Lu, this crazy woman said she is a doctor. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked around, his eyes sharp, and the pressure between his brows made everyone couldn't help but laugh. You see, we also have to say, There are no doctors here. Why are you fooling us who don't know where we will be tomorrow? No one will believe it if there is no benefit. The man finished his words and felt that he was right. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 792. Chapter 792. Are you stupid? Zhang Xiaoxiao took out the medicine box. The moment the medicine box was opened, everyone fell silent. The whole building was as quiet as death for a moment. Zhang Xiaoxiao's movements were smooth and smooth. Although Liu's mouth was in pain and his eyes were squinting, he shed tears of joy. But for a moment, old Lu firmly stopped Zhang Xiaoxiao from making any move. Don't be stunned, wait a minute, carry me in, you, doctor, come here, this is where you should be. You must have been here just now for a test. You are a doctor and you should come here to prove that you are a doctor. Lao Lu shouted at the others. Everyone who had been stunned just now suddenly moved. Yes, let's come, don't move, we will carry De Lao Lu in. If you want to treat his leg, go to this testing room to treat it. If you need anything, just say something, and we will help you. You don't need to do anything. Yes, you don't need to do anything. The contrast is a bit extreme, making Zhang Xiaoxiao a little dazed. What is going on with these people? Suddenly he became smiling, enthusiastic and proactive. The old man Lu Yu was carried directly into the house. Although he still placed it on the ground, fortunately, someone immediately brought the table and chairs. It looked as if they were trying to build an office here, which made Zhang Xiaoxiao doubt whether they had made a mistake or just fooled themselves when he entered this place to test. When Yali and Xiao Wu arrived with the table, they found that it had already been arranged. Zhang Xiaoxiao has already fixed the leg bones and put a plaster on the leg for old Lu. At this moment, the elder Lu was sitting on his chair feeling refreshed. Looking at his lame leg, he didn't know what he was thinking happily about. It seemed like his injured leg was a big deal, which made Yuli and Xiao a little confused. What is happening with the people here? Are they all crazy? Everyone was greeted with a smile, and everyone stood respectfully outside the door, and no one went in. The two of them carried the table and walked in, but were stopped by others. Zhang Xiaoxiao now lifted Xiao Li to the table, and the table was covered with surgical sterile cloth for her surgery. Seeing Yali, Zhang Xiaoxiao hurriedly let her in. You all can try to make a curtain, I want to perform an operation on Xiao Li. It's not suitable for everyone to watch, and I need my people as assistants. You'd better keep quiet and don't disturb this place. These words were just put down. I saw people outside immediately starting to move as if pressing a button. The movement was quick and resolute. The 5 people in the test group stood in the observation room and looked at the screen. All 5 of them were stunned. The S&D display on the screen is still hanging brightly there. The problem is that there are other problems under the screen. Director Xiao in the test room hurriedly directed others to turn on all the other screens. This screen was black, so the other screens could not be broken as well. After turning on the screen, everyone was dumbfounded. Director, what is she doing? It's a woman. No, it's 2 women. Shut up, you can't understand this. This is surgery. It's an inheritance from the ancient medical community, but people in our current medical center don't do this. They always just put people directly into the treatment warehouse, and rely on those treatments. Fluids are given to the person for recovery. Although the people in their treatment centers are also called doctors and family members, there is no comparison at all. Director Xiao stared at the screen with great interest. The more he looked at it, the more he chewed it. Awesome, this knife is so sharp. This is a powerful man in the ancient medical world. He seems to have seen blood without blinking an eye. He should have done it many times. Director, what should we do now? Report it to the superior. A descendant of the ancient medical profession suddenly appeared on the 900th floor. This was a rare thing, and the successor of the ancient medical profession was different from other inheritors, and he was also different from those warriors. Even if an S-end warrior appeared, it would not be as shocking as a descendant of the ancient medical field. Suppose this is reported to the police. They should be able to upgrade 3 levels in a row, and then they can go directly to the 700th floor to work. Thinking about the treatment on the 700th floor, the eyes of the 2 observers were burning. It was not in vain that they read the pictorial for half a day today. Great luck awaits them here. Director Xiao glared, "Are you stupid? Pig brains." The building manager has been looking forward to the rise of the 900th floor for many years. Now is the opportunity. This is our chance to rise to the 900th floor. A descendant of ancient medicine, the 900th floor will be nothing in the future. I'm afraid the 800th floor, the 700th floor, it will also be merged by us. You can see that we will have better days in the future. One sentence made everyone suddenly enlightened. Yes. This is definitely different. The building manager's office on the 900th floor. The building manager? This title does not sound very good, nor is it powerful, but it is indeed the building manager. What does the building manager do? The shelter here is divided into 999 floors. On average, 10 floors are one building long. Lu Fengming is the captain of the 900-story building. To be precise, after the World War and the attack of aliens, the entire Earth has been almost destroyed. In order to cope with this disaster, human beings finally built this strong shelter. This shelter has a total of 999 floors, and each floor can accommodate 100,000 people. All the humans here are all the humans who have survived on the entire planet. No one knows what all the energy here relies on to maintain it, but people know that this shelter is the only place on the planet where humans can survive. It is also the only place where monsters cannot attack. No matter how powerful the monsters are, they cannot attack and enter the shelter. This is a strange thing. It is also a condition for people to survive. The captain of a 900-story building means that he is in charge of people on 10 floors. In other words, there are 1 million people in the hands of this Lu Fengming. Although the 900th floor is not the 999th floor, there is not much difference between the 900th floor and the 999th floor, because below the 900th floor, their resources and survival opportunities are far less than those above the 900th floor. The resources allocated to them are the worst and the environment is the worst. The warriors here are also the weakest, because all the elite warriors have been selected. Of course, the monsters here are not the most powerful. After all the elites are concentrated on the 100th floor. The 100th floor receives the best and most abundant resources. Of course, it also faces the most serious challenges and dangers. The so-called survival of the fittest. It is said that if the elites on the 100th floor cannot resist the super monsters above, then the entire human sanctuary will be destroyed. As the building manager, he is actually exhausted mentally and physically. On the 900th floor, it seems that he has 1 million people in charge, and he responds to 1 million calls. But here, the scarce resources are getting less and less, and the monsters outside are getting stronger and stronger. Those low-level monsters that are easy to be killed have been almost wiped out by them, but humans only die, but there is no population increase. On the one hand, doctors are a scarce resource. Look at how many people don't even have a doctor. Even a simple cold can kill someone. Another aspect is that so far, we don't know what kind of sequelae the war has left or what kind of radiation human genes have suffered. Humanity began to have no more babies born within this decade. Watch the population in your hands disappear one by one, this number never increases. It is decreasing at a rapid rate every year, which makes people anxious. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 793. Chapter 793 I can't promise you. Lu Fengming is worried about how to reduce the mortality rate and how to keep these people alive. This is the biggest problem for him. He does not seek fame or fortune, but hopes that more and more human beings will survive, not less and less. Lao Xiao barely knocked on the office door, kicked it open and came in. Lu Fengming glanced at Lao Xiao angrily. Old Xiao, all your courtesy has gone to the dog's belly. You don't even know how to knock on the door. Director Xiao slapped the table happily. S+, you are still a doctor, and you are still a doctor in the ancient medical field. Shouldn't you thank me? Lu Fengming was confused. What are you talking about? You are talking to yourself. The older you get, the more you start talking nonsense. What S+? What heir to the ancient medical field? What are you talking about? Is it possible that a new top combat power will appear on the 100th floor? Lu Fengming felt a little sour when he asked this question. The top combat power of this S-class was all concentrated on the 100th floor. It can be said that the 100,000 top combat power on the 100th floor was their last hope for mankind. All resources are tilted towards that place because that is where the hope of mankind lies. Old Lu, great news, do you know how much I helped you today? There was someone in the test room on the 900th floor who has super combat power, and he is also a descendant of ancient medicine. You probably haven't seen how the screen has changed. The screen has been beeping continuously since I started having surgery. The red light is almost on top, reminding us that this is a doctor from the ancient medical field. Our 900th floor now has its own doctor. Are you surprised or surprised? Lu Fengming stood up. What did you say? Lao Xiao, you can't lie to me, or I'll never be done with you. If there really is such a person, I'll cover your kids' future drinks. Lu Fengming felt his heart beating fast. Still have such luck on the 900th floor? Director Xiao took Lu Fengming to their observation room. Looking at a bunch of people gathered in front of the screen. Everyone had tears in their eyes. Cry like a tearful person. Lu Fengming glared, every one of you is like a dead mother. Why are you crying? Get out of the way and let me see. There is something wrong with each of these bastards. After the 3-point score, Lu Fengming held the screen and cried bitterly. The snot and tears flowed from the crying, and Director Xiao didn't even look at it. Hand over the towel. Okay, okay. Are you done yet? You said you looked at the young people and they were all frightened. Lu Fengming choked while wiping his tears and blowing his nose. What do you know? If my mother could have persisted for another year, she would have survived. If this girl had appeared earlier, my mother would not have had to die. I feel bad when I think about it. Lu Fengming's words made many people cry secretly. Lu Fengming was not alone, but many people had similar experiences. Everyone is born and raised by his parents. Everyone has brothers and sisters, blood relatives, and comrades who will never give up in life or death, but no one has ever faced such a difficult choice. A doctor is a person who exists like a god. Human life and death now depend not on doctors but on themselves. Lao Lu, now is not the time for you to cry. You have to think of a solution quickly. This matter must not be reported to the police, but how can we hide this person? Director Xiao wiped away his tears. A man would not shed tears easily. At this time, he had to think about what to do with this man. Lu Fengming couldn't cry at the moment, it goes without saying, what should I do? If she goes up to the top but doesn't report the doctor, just report her combat power. If she hides this combat power from the lower level, she will report her to level A. We are on the 900th floor. At least there should be another A level 1. Lu Fengming's words made everyone nod. That's okay, but you have to think about how to arrange it later. They kept it secret just to spare the lives of many people on the 900th floor. If once the 100th floor knew that there was a doctor here, and he was a very talented doctor in the ancient medical field, it would be okay. Zhao Zhanxiang, an old bastard, must bring someone to rob him. Zhang Xiaoxiao wiped his sweat, but someone carried Xiao Li out. Although Xiao Li is still sleeping, his breathing is steady and his condition is very stable. It's best for me and my people to stay with her for 24 hours, because the situation may change within 24 hours after the surgery. Everyone here lives in single rooms, and there are very few suites where people can live together or share rooms. At least Zhang Xiaoxiao has never seen them. Of course there is no wide space to take care of patients. This is a problem because there is no such thing as a ward here. Others are a little embarrassed. Xiao Li lives in a dormitory, which is like a pigeon cage and can accommodate a single bed and a table. They usually eat in places like the cafeteria. If two big people are crammed in, they won't be able to stand at all. What are you thinking about? Hurry up and remodel the largest conference room in your office area into a ward, and then send the patient in. This way, the doctor and the people who take care of him can work in a spacious place. Someone appeared and the loud voice made people feel shocked. Everyone saluted Lu Fengming when they saw him. This is their building manager. Hello, building manager, we'll get there right away. The entire exchange center became busy, and everyone quickly mobilized manpower and material resources. Get started with the fastest mod. Lu Fengming looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao with a smile. He knew she was a girl at first glance, but he couldn't tell her age or facial features. Why are you wearing a mask? What kind of fuss is this little girl doing? Is it possible that she still wants to hide her identity? Girl, my surname is Lu, and my name is Lu Fengming. I am the building manager of our 900th floor, and I am in charge of the people on the 10th floor. I saw you doing surgery today, little girl. It was really amazing and shocked all of us. I didn't expect you to learn the inheritance of the ancient medical world. Girl. I hope you can stay in our 900th floor. People on our 900th floor have a hard time. These 1 million people don't even have a doctor. Whether everyone has a slight cold or a serious injury, they all have to bear it on their own. If you can't carry it, you will die. Girl. I just hope you can stay with us. I can give you all the resources you want. As long as you stay on our 900th floor. Lu Fengming said the softest words in the loudest voice. Zhang Xiaoxiao suddenly saw the sincerity of Mr. Lu. At the same time, I was shocked by the fact that 1 million people did not even have a doctor. And this situation is not only encountered on the 900th floor, but also on the 800th and 700th floors. Tens of millions of people only have 3 doctors, and doctors who pay exorbitant prices cannot afford to treat them. Looking at the earnestness in the other person's eyes, I suddenly felt that I had suddenly become so responsible. She came to this world like a savior. Originally, she came to this world to save the people she loved. But suddenly I realized that this world needs people to save it more. Chief Lu, I can't promise you. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 794. Chapter 794. A fool doesn't want to. One sentence can make everyone feel confused. Lu Fengming almost fell to the ground. He knew that he could not retain people. How could such a person have no background and just give them 900 levels of discovery casually? No one else could find it, but it was discovered on the 900th floor. The people here live in the cracks and have never encountered a good thing like pie in the sky. His straight back became rickety, and he suddenly aged more than 10 years. Director Xiao is a bit grumpy and just wanted to argue with Zhang Xiaoxiao. Yali said, "You have misunderstood Zhang Xiaoxiao. She once promised us that she would stay on the 900th floor for a while and help us train a group of doctors. She doesn't want anyone to misunderstand Zhang Xiaoxiao, otherwise Zhang Xiaoxiao will have trouble moving here. Chief Lu was instantly resurrected with full health. What? Zhang Xiaoxiao? Dr. Zhang, is it true that you help me train doctors? All the doctors we train have their eyes high, and they can be said to be arrogant among the others. Who doesn't hold doctors up high? But now, there are actually people who are willing to teach others their heritage. How could someone be so stupid? Zhang Xiaoxiao smiled, of course it's true. A doctor's bounden duty is to treat illnesses and save people. I'm not a born doctor. I learned it from my teacher. If I can do it, then so can others. I don't want there to be so few doctors in the world. I want to at least ensure that everyone can get treatment. The nobility of the doctor's profession does not lie in how high it is, nor in how much money it can earn, stepping on other people's bones, sucking other people's blood, and enjoying life as it pleases. Being a doctor is a noble profession. I will dedicate my life to serving mankind, and I will give my teachers the respect and gratitude they deserve. I will practice medicine and save people with my conscience and dignity, and the patient's health will be my first concern. I will respect the privacy of all patients, even after the patient has passed away. I will do my best to uphold the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession and regard my colleagues as my brothers and sisters. I will not allow bias based on age, illness, or disability, religion, ethnicity, gender, race, political opinion, national origin, sexual orientation, social status, or any other factor to come between my duties and my patients. I will give the greatest respect to human life. Even under threat, I will not use my medical knowledge to harm human rights and justice. I solemnly and autonomously swear by my personality. This passage is from a medical school doctor's oath in a certain country, and was used by Zhang Xiaoxiao because it is more comprehensive and more in line with the current situation than the oath of medical students in his own country. Everyone's blood boiled with excitement at this statement. This is the doctor. This is the character a doctor should have. Okay, let me cry for a while. Lu Fengming really turned around and left quickly. Director Xiao came over and patted Zhang Xiaoxiao on the shoulder. You are good, do a good job. Not to mention that Lu Fengming just did what he said. When people heard that this man was willing to teach medical skills, which was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, they were afraid that Zhang Xiaoxiao would change his mind. Even if you just learn the skill of 1.5 moves, it is better than not knowing anything at all. The first treatment center was established in their exchange center. Of course, this treatment center is not called a treatment center here. Zhang Xiaoxiao feels that the treatment center is better called a clinic. The first Rena clinic here was opened. There is really no equipment or anything like that. In their place, medical skills have long been lost and extinct. There are no medical devices or medical equipment at all. Seriously speaking, those medical equipment are like a treatment warehouse for those clinics. All patients pay according to the price and then lie in and close the treatment warehouse. After intelligent selection, all patients will be cured naturally when they come out. Of course, there are some cases that cannot be cured. Not only is the treatment warehouse not a panacea, but for some minor colds, who dares to go to the treatment warehouse for treatment? Unless the top 100 level combat power has the right to choose, for them, who is willing to spend dozens to hundreds of demon eyes to choose the treatment warehouse for treatment? Devil's eyes are a type of crystal, but they cannot be hit by ordinary monsters. A piece of devil's eye is enough for ordinary people like them to go to the 850th floor. 20 pieces of devil's eyes are enough for them to go to the 100th floor and live a rich life. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at the place and it was really shabby. Except for the medicine box he brought with him, which contained some surgical equipment and medicines, there really wasn't much he needed here. People say that you start from scratch, but I am no different from starting from scratch. Their clinic can be opened in almost 10 minutes. All equipment does not need to be deployed, and it can be opened naturally. Hunting the sign for rent a clinic, no one came in for about a whole day. It's not that people can't understand the meaning of a clinic. Everyone knows that a clinic actually means a treatment center, but a treatment center means a high-priced evil eye. They don't have the money to treat it. There were many people watching outside, but no one came in to treat the patient. The only patient in the entire clinic is Xiao Li, who finally woke up from the operation. Knowing that I was saved, a doctor was performing an operation on me. Although the wound hurt terribly, the pain was good, and the pain meant that I was alive. Zhang Xiaoxiao knew that people had lingering fears and didn't care. No doctor forces a patient to come in for treatment. This is against the norm. Doctors should do what doctors do. Taking advantage of my free time, there are now 500 people in front of me. Lu Fengming mobilized the connections he did not have. These 500 people were the first batch of people, and they were also talented, powerful, and intelligent geniuses on the list. It should be more than enough to train such people to become doctors. The average age of the 500 people in front of me is only 18 years old, the youngest is only 13 years old, and the oldest is only 23 years old. They all received a call from the building manager before they came. It was a great honor to receive a call from the Supreme Building Manager. The floor manager only said one sentence, "Do you want to be a doctor? If you want to be a doctor, then come and sign up for the interview." They don't believe anyone, and it's impossible not to believe that the building manager is a doctor. That's probably it. They have never had a dream in this life. The profession of doctor is not something that everyone can become. They thought about being a top warrior and dying on the battlefield, but they never thought about being a doctor to save lives, because the word doctor here is not synonymous with saving lives. Of course, there are absolutely no people who don't want to be doctors, so everyone comes as soon as they hear about it. They all want to know whether this is true or not, and how they can become doctors. There is a glimmer of hope, and anyone is willing to be a doctor. Being a doctor can not only eat and drink well, but also enjoy a luxurious life and enjoy the admiration of everyone. Being a doctor means you are well liked, and you don't have to do anything, and you are well protected. No fool would think so. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 795. Chapter 795 Interview. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at the 500 young people in front of him. In fact, to him, these were 500 children. My true age is already 33, no matter how I say it. 500 children were sitting neatly on the chairs in the hall, waiting for Zhang Xiaoxiao's interview. Through this screen, Zhang Xiaoxiao could see them, but they didn't know that there was a person behind the wall watching them. Lu Fengming and Director Xiao are both here. They are accompanying Zhang Xiaoxiao during the interview. They also want to know what it takes to be a doctor. They only knew that Zhang Xiaoxiao requested an interview, but they had no idea how the interview would be tested. This is not a testing room. All tests will be given through that channel when they come. What kind of conditions, what kind of quality and what kind of intensity of each person determines your future development. Hi. But it was obvious from Zhang Xiaoxiao's test that they couldn't tell. The door opened, and a stooped old man walked in. Hold a broom in his hand, and there was a lot of garbage scattered in the corner. Of course, it was an inconspicuous place. These students watched the old man walking past them and walked directly to the corner. Hands of brooms and dusters are cleaning up the garbage there. Everyone is waiting for the interviewer to enter. Suddenly the old man fell down holding his stomach and groaned in pain. Everyone's eyes quickly turned around. Some people just glanced at the old man, and then quickly returned their gaze to the door, sitting there with anticipation and waiting for the interviewer's progress. Some people looked at the old man and seemed hesitant. Only 3 people finally stood up, and they walked over and helped the old man up. "How are you, Grandpa?" "It's okay, it's okay. I always have some problems like this when I get older. I had a severe stomachache just now. It must be because I didn't eat in the morning. This is a perennial stomach problem. I don't have stomach pain once or twice. Don't be afraid. It's nothing. It's a big deal, don't delay your interview." The old man explained and pushed them away, signaling them to go back quickly. The 3 people hesitated for a moment, 2 of them walked back to their seats and sat down, and only one of them turned around, opened the door and walked out. Someone started to whisper. "Did this person withdraw from the interview? I think he is crazy. There are actually people who don't want to be doctors. Being a doctor is so glorious. You don't have to go out to fight monsters, and you can enjoy delicious food and drink here. I heard that the doctors in those treatment centers are idle all day long. They live in the best house, eat the best food, and enjoy the protection of the top combat power. I heard that there are 3S level combat power in the treatment center to protect them. Yes, I told my mother that I received a notice from the building manager asking me to come over for a doctor's interview at that time. My mother was so excited and said that our family will rise to the top all at once, and our family will also become a wealthy family in the future." While those people were talking, the door opened, and the interview student who just walked out finally came back, panting, holding a small piece of dry bread in his hand, and handed it to the old man. "Old man, you eat? Although I only have 1 piece of this bread, you are the same age as my grandfather. If my grandfather were still alive, if he encountered such a thing, I think I would also hope that he could get such help. I help you just like I help my grandpa." The old man thanked him repeatedly with an excited expression, and quickly stuffed the piece of bread into his mouth, as if he didn't even chew it, just swallowed it all at once. Obviously, something big happened in such excitement. The bread was dry and hard. The old man choked and rolled his eyes, but he still swallowed hard. Because he couldn't breathe, his face was red and his neck was thick, he fell straight to the ground. Obviously, this scene shocked everyone. The boy who handed the bread to the old man was obviously frightened and hurriedly screamed at his 2 companions. Like him just now, the 2 people who went to see the old man obviously came to the interview with him, and the 3 of them were familiar with each other. "Quick, go find a glass of water." The companion stood up in a panic, kicked down the chair behind him with a loud bang, and hurried out to find water. 7 or 8 boys also gathered around. Some of them patted the old man on the back, while others helped him feel better, hoping that he could swallow it quickly. Because this look makes people feel a little scared. Because the old man couldn't breathe, his whole neck began to thicken, and his veins bulged out. He was scratching his throat hard with both hands, as if he wanted to scratch a hole there so that he could breathe. The rest of the people moved their chairs away automatically, keeping a distance from the old man and the children, and did not want to get involved in this kind of thing. Soon, the water came. The old man did not seem to be relieved after giving him water. The children were a little pale and they didn't know what to do. The old man's condition seemed to be getting worse and worse, and soon, due to suffocation, his head tilted and he fell to the ground, obviously unconscious. "Go and call someone. Isn't there a clinic where we just came in? Isn't it that the teacher who chose us is there? He is a doctor, he can definitely save it." The boy burst into tears. He had a piece of bread with good intentions, but it ended up killing the old man. This was something he never expected. Someone stood up and sneered. "Haha, you are so naive. When have you ever heard that a doctor in a clinic will treat people for free? This is suffocation, caused by food choking the trachea. Devil's eyes, can you pay it out? What should be done to treat him when he is sent to a treatment center? In our 900th floor, this is basic common sense. If you get sick, just wait until you die. Why bother to do that? Besides, he died at such an old age and would suffer while living. Shut up. He is so old, but why should he die? The lives of people on the 900th floor are not lives. Should we people on the 900th floor wait to die? I don't believe in fate. The boy wiped away his tears, and when he opened the door, he saw a person standing outside the door. The bright light and shadow outside the door behind him seemed like he had fallen directly from the sky. In everyone's eyes, he suddenly became taller, as if he had wings. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at the boy. Do you want to save him? The boy nodded. I want to save him, I want to save everyone. The lives of us people on the 900th floor are also lives. Why should we wait for death? My grandfather once said that in the distant ancient times, ancestors passed down. Come on, it is the bounden duty of doctors to treat illnesses and save lives. They will not care about personal gains and losses, nor will they care about the person's professional gender or status. They will not use anything to measure the standard of saving people. But why has it become like this now? What does it look like? The child burst into tears and squatted on the ground crying uncontrollably. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 796. Chapter 796. Wait for me. Lu Fengming and director Xiao looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao. They were both adults and naturally understood what adults thought. Suddenly, they understood what Zhang Xiaoxiao meant. How to find the students she wants among these children. At this moment, they suddenly understood that Zhang Xiaoxiao was different from them. Although they also hope that the 900th floor can be reborn, so that these people can have hope of living. But they are still utilitarian. They just hope that they can lead these 1 million people to live well and create a better future. They just think that they can have better resources, that they can move themselves to a higher level, and that they can have a higher reputation and status. It can be as beautiful as 100 stories long. They didn't think so broadly, and they didn't think about what kind of duties a doctor should perform, but it was obvious that Zhang Xiaoxiao had different ideas from them. This interview is, to put it bluntly, a test of human nature and character. This child is right. In ancient times, their ancestors, for generations, their ancestors believed that they could go to the hospital for treatment when they were sick. Even if the doctor doesn't get a penny, he will still treat this person. He knows that the treatment of this person is likely to delay the medical expenses, but the doctor will never turn this person away just because of this. It cannot be said that there was none at all, but the doctors of that era did not care about a person's status and had no standards of measurement. They only wanted to save people. Save a life. Children, get up. Zhang Xiaoxiao asked Yali to help the child up. Yuli is now his most effective assistant. If Yuli was planning to go to the 850th floor before, go to a higher level. But now all this no longer exists. In her heart, she sees hope, the hope that Zhang Xiaoxiao brings to everyone. After seeing Zhang Xiaoxiao's methods of treating illnesses and saving lives, Yali suddenly understood that being a doctor could be so dedicated, so professional, and so sacred. Zhang Xiaoxiao seemed to be glowing when he was undergoing surgery. She is also a warrior fighting against death. Please, can you please save Grandpa Q? He was just choked. As long as he can recover, he can survive. The child pointed to the old man on the ground. Zhang Xiaoxiao snapped his fingers. The old man lying on the ground quickly stood up and laughed. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene, and some people didn't understand that the old man was pretending. My child, don't be afraid. I'm just pretending. Look, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm in great health. But my child, You have such a good heart. You are born to be a doctor. Only someone like you is qualified to be a doctor. The bearded Captain Lu Jian pretended to be an old man. Lu Jian came up and gently touched the child's head. I feel very emotional inside. They need new humans, humans with new ideas, and new reform plans. They can no longer live the same way they did before, living in a state of confusion and only treating today as the last day. Zhang Xiaoxiao clapped his hands and said, "Okay, everyone, stand up. This interview is over. Those who pass the interview will be notified to participate in the study." All the children left them confused, but they probably understood that what just happened was important to the outcome of the interview. And obviously some people weren't involved at all. Approximately 200 interviews were conducted without changing the medicine. The bearded Lu Jian pretended to be sick with various patients. Zhang Xiaoxiao selected a total of 4,000 children. These 4,000 children will study with her as her students. From the most basic medical knowledge to the most solid surgical plans, everything must be cultivated. These 4,000 people can only be considered a drop in the bucket for a million humans, but she hopes that the 4,000 students they have trained can train more doctors. Only in this way can it bloom everywhere. She has to rely entirely on herself. She will probably be exhausted and she won't be able to train so many doctors. Suddenly, several families on the 900th floor were happy and some were worried. Those children who received the notification call immediately became the geniuses in people's eyes, and they will become the masters overnight. Those children who did not receive the notice became frustrated and began to reflect on whether they had done something wrong. When facing an interview, they wondered what they should do at that time. After the most profound reflection on human nature, they suddenly understood what qualities a doctor should have. Although it is very difficult to change human nature all at once, at least every young child starts to reflect. This is already the greatest progress. At this time, Zhang Xiaoxiao was worried in the clinic. With so many students, they might not be able to do it on their own if they need books. Moreover, a lot of practice equipment is needed, and all medical equipment is not available here. Even if you perform an operation yourself, the only operation you can do is the simplest operating room. Even the sterile operating room is not accessible. If many people had not relied on their own peach pills, it is estimated that many people would have died from complications. Zhang Xiaoxiao decided to go back. At least a large number of medical devices are needed. These future human beings may have their own children and grandchildren. Should they be allowed to live in such conditions, in such an environment, and in such a human nature? She absolutely won't allow it. Whether it is to find that piece of meteorite fragment, or n pieces of meteorite fragment, or to change the fate of mankind in the future, you must do something. Zhang Xiaoxiao wanted to go back, but after returning, he would need money for a large number of medical equipment. Although the hospital is running normally, I spent such a large amount of money to buy so many medical equipment. It is definitely impossible without passing through Baiyi. When passing through Baiyi, I am afraid many people will find problems. How should you explain yourself? Just explaining it would be a long speech, and how would you make others believe it? And if you want to build a sterile operating room here, or even several sterile operating rooms, the medical equipment you need is not a simple one. With such a large amount of medical equipment, the financial resources alone are probably not bad enough even for the money earned by my own hospital. Money, money, suddenly I found myself poor again. The voice of number 9 jumped out happily. Sister, don't be afraid when you take the crystals here back home, they will be top-notch diamonds. They can be exchanged for a lot of money in that world. You can buy whatever equipment you want. Zhang Xiaoxiao took out the crystals in the space. Before I had time to go to the redemption center, a surprise arrived on the 9th. This is a diamond? A diamond as big as a palm? Zhang Xiaoxiao suddenly felt his heart surge. The feeling of becoming a rich man in an instant is really exciting. She earns all her money based on her skills. Get rich overnight refers to the kind of nouveau riche. She doesn't seem to need it. Now there is a pile of diamonds, and there are still such big diamonds sitting in the space. Medical equipment, etc., will be here right away. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 797. Chapter 797 Passing Away. I can convert it into money directly for you and deposit it in your bank account. Xiaoju is very well behaved. Zhang Xiaoxiao was confused for a moment. Is there still this operation? Can it be converted directly into money? Number 9's cute voice is so cute. Sister, don't think too much. You have no right to spend a penny of this money on yourself or your family. You can't make a fortune by relying on this. This is a world transformation. I can help you transform your wealth, but this money it can only be used in other worlds, otherwise it will be counted in your account. You can't spend it either. Why does Zhang Xiaoxiao feel that this guy number 9 is deliberately attacking people? Strange, if I use money to buy medical equipment, how do you know who I gave it to, in case it is put in my hospital? You give it a try. Number 9 reminded Zhang Xiaoxiao cutely. Sister, you can bring me delicious food when I go home. I want to try all the delicious food you mentioned. Last time you went behind my back and ate barbecue every day and completely forgot about me. Sister, you don't like it me I know, I'll make delicious food for you. Zhang Xiaoxiao laughed helplessly. Number 9 is a foodie, and you won't understand the world of foodies. Zhang Xiaoxiao was helpless after being accused so cutely. I really don't know who inherited the temperament of number 9. It is impossible for a meteorite to generate its own personality. If number 10 had such a personality, it would be easy to find and coax him back, but it is said that number 10 has a very fiery personality. Imagining a fire-breathing dragon getting angry there, Zhang Xiaoxiao couldn't help but shudder. Sister, can I remind you that if number 10 is disobedient, you can let the big devil come out, even I can subdue that big devil, don't talk about no 10. Zhang Xiaoxiao was stunned by a weak sentence. Which big devil are you talking about? Sister, you are dishonest. Your daughter is the most powerful demon king in the interstellar. Are you still asking? She is famous in the interstellar. No, it should be called infamous. She has caused tens of thousands of wars. The Star Wars started because of her. She led people to quell many Star Wars. With her here, are you still afraid that number 10 will run away? That's because there is no other way. A large part of her abilities have been sealed now. If all her seals were unlocked, I'm afraid it would be child's play to find number 10 now. Zhang Xiaoxiao has a question mark on his head. Are you talking about her cute and lovely daughter? Song Xian is very well behaved and has been trouble-free since she was a child. Now she is actually a big devil? The problem is that Song Xian really regards herself as her biological mother. Even her 3 biological children are put behind her. It's actually different now. Star Wars? Song Xian? Song Zi equals Star Wars. Zhang Xiaoxiao went back silently and entered her own small home. Now she, Dr. Zhang, still lives in the same place. Lu Fengming's suggestion has not changed at all, and it is not easy to attract the attention of the upper management. Zhang Xiaoxiao is also willing, of course. She hasn't gone to the place where the red flame beast is on the 900th floor to have a look. She's not sure there really is one on the 900th floor, so she leaves unwillingly. Besides, there are still a large number of students who need themselves. Twist the ring. Zhang Xiaoxiao appeared in the laboratory, and opposite Song Xian looked at him with a worried look. Mom, I was about to go in, why did you come out? Are you in danger? I noticed you using my consciousness. At that time, I was on my way to send Grandma to the hospital, and I really couldn't get out. Songjian was really sweating at that time. I feel a little regretful for speaking out. Even if she is still the same Songjian, still the interstellar warrior, she will still be overwhelmed. One side is my mother and the other side is my grandma. It is impossible to give up any of them. Grandma, what's wrong? Grandma and Grandpa were in a car accident. I gave them the peach pills you left for us, but the doctor said they couldn't survive. Songjian didn't want to cry. She actually had no relationship with Mr. Song and Mrs. Song. But the two old men watched her grow up, and they also took care of her since she was a child. The two old men treated her no differently than other brothers and sisters, and they did not treat her any differently just because she was not their biological child. The kindness and love of the old men warmed her heart. Like her parents, these two old people are also her family in her heart. Although not as good as my mother, I still feel sad knowing that the two old people are not good. Zhang Xiaoxiao picked up his clothes and went out. It was the 12th lunar month of winter here, but it was not the hot summer over there 5,000 years later. Walk. Drive to the hospital. Zhang Xiaoxiao felt extremely self-blame for a moment. He had locked himself in the laboratory for the past few days and only focused on looking for meteorite fragments in the future world. Completely ignored Song Moding, nor the old man, nor the old lady, nor even took care of the children. I am too selfish and seemed to give up everything in an instant. The old man and his wife had a car accident, which actually had a lot to do with him. Because the old man and his wife got into a car accident on their way to the hospital to see Song Moding, she is now a little worried that those people might come to visit her again. Has the car accident been investigated? Zhang Xiaoxiao knew it was inappropriate to ask an 8-year-old child, but he already asked. It seems that after returning from the future world, she has treated the child in front of her as an adult. Song Xian's expression was serious, with a chill at the corner of her mouth. The car accident has been investigated. It was a natural car accident without any signs of man-made factors. The driver survived. Although he was seriously injured, the driver was drunk. He also admitted his mistake and said that he drank 2 drinks that day. This means there are no human signs. At the hospital, Song Xian took Zhang Xiaoxiao straight to the intensive care unit. Zhang Xiaoxiao opened the door and saw a room full of people inside. Everyone from the Song family has arrived. The moment they saw Zhang Xiaoxiao, many people's eyes contained condemnation. Song King, he snorted coldly, "Where have you been? Old man, the old lady wants to see you for the last time. We have made countless calls, but we can't find you anywhere." Zhang Xiaoxiao stepped forward and walked straight to the bed of the old lady and the old man. The two old men were actually placed side by side. Looking at the faint flickering of the heart rate on the monitor, Zhang Xiaoxiao knew that the old man could not hold on for long and was really waiting for him. Peach pills don't work either? Birth, aging, sickness and death will eventually come. This is an irresistible force of human power. Grandma, Grandpa, I'm here, I'm Xiaoxiao. The old lady's eyes that were closed suddenly opened with such difficulty that people were worried about her. The old lady raised her fingers with difficulty, and Zhang Xiaoxiao hurriedly squeezed the old lady's fingers. The old lady looked at her husband next to her. The old man's eyes were tightly closed and his breath was gradually weakening. The sound of crying gradually started in the room. Xiaoxiao, emoting, emoting. I know, Grandma. I will protect emoting and the children for the rest of my life, Grandma and Grandpa, don't worry. As Zhang Xiaoxiao finished speaking, the old lady let out a long sigh of relief. Died forever. Zhang Xiaoxiao burst into tears. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 798. Chapter 798, The Final Guarantee. According to the arrangements made by the old lady and the old man during his lifetime, all funeral arrangements will be kept simple. After the three brothers Song Kingyun held a simple ceremony, the old man and the old lady were cremated, and the ashes were sent to BBS. This is the treatment that old men and old ladies should have. Originally, Zhang Xiaoxiao wanted to follow the old man's wish and spread it across the rivers and lakes, and fulfill the old man's wish. It's a pity that she is a junior, and her superiors are very concerned about this. Zhang Xiaoxiao felt like a mess. The three brothers of the Song family, plus a large family, were in the living room. The three daughters were sent to their parents' home, and Zhang Xiaoxiao sat alone in the corner. This used to be the liveliest living room. Without the old man and the old lady, it seemed to have suddenly become very cold. Zhang Xiaoxiao is a little cold. I miss the old man and his wife, the two old people who gave me infinite love, and I miss Song Moding even more. When can you come back? Song Kingyun coughed and said, my parents have gone. Today our three brothers and our children are all here. Please explain clearly the things left behind by my parents to avoid conflicts and estrangement between brothers in the future. I am the eldest brother, it counts as a master. My parents left so much property. This house, the original old house and the two houses near the medical university, totaling 4 houses. Of course, the old lady and the old man's savings, all these bank books are placed here, as well as the jewelry left by the old lady. Song's mother's eyes lit up. Because the old lady passed away so suddenly, she didn't have time to leave a will. But as everyone knows over the years, the old lady and the old man have long made it known that all their property will be left to Mo Ting. I also respect the old man and the old lady's wishes. When Mother Song heard this, her expression changed. Brother, you can't say that. Even a bowl of water must be balanced. Although the old man and the old lady said so, after all, the old man and the old lady did not leave a will. According to the law, in principle, these properties are everyone's inheritance. Mother Song looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao coldly, and when she saw Zhang Xiaoxiao's blank expression and dull demeanor, she was secretly proud that you are here too. The old man and the old lady who were protecting you are gone, right? Song Moding's little boy is also lying on the bed motionless at the moment. Let's see who can protect you. Finally, I feel proud and arrogant. The humiliation and suppression that the old man and the old lady have put on me over the years, as well as the long-standing gap between my son and Song Moding, can finally make Song Mu feel relieved on this day. As the old saying goes, 30 years to the east of the river, 30 years to the west of the river. Song Kingyun was displeased and glanced at his brother Song Kinghe without saying a word. However, the more he said nothing, the more he acquiesced to his wife's words. As soon as the old lady and the old man left, his sister-in-law and younger brother jumped out. This made Song Kingyun's anger reach its peak. What do you mean? Is it possible that what your parents said before doesn't count, and you think it should be divided evenly? Don't let the second and third children keep silent. What's the point of letting a woman stand up and speak? You are your parents' biological sons, so you can speak out what you think in your heart. As the eldest brother, I am not unkind. The third child seemed to be angry when he saw his elder brother. Just as he was about to speak, his wife pinched him hard. Shut up if it hurts. Brother, no matter how we divide it, we naturally have no objection. We will listen to the eldest brother and the second brother. You two can just discuss it. The third daughter-in-law is naturally unwilling to leave so much property to Song Moding and Zhang Xiaoxiao. Song Moding is basically a vegetative state now. The doctor has determined that he has become a vegetative state and has been lying in bed for more than a year. It is said that it is possible for people in a vegetative state to wake up, but who knows when. Such a large amount of property is equivalent to being left to Zhang Xiaoxiao alone. Zhang Xiaoxiao is an outsider no matter what, and her surname is not Song. Why should the Song family's property be left to an outsider, not to his own son, but to his grandson's wife? This is unreasonable. If Song Moding was here, as an aunt, would probably be embarrassed to compete with her nephew for property. After all, the old man and the old lady had said this over and over again. Everyone knew and acquiesced to this fact. But it's different now. Song Moding's situation is different. Song King he naturally discussed this matter with Song's mother for a long time, and finally reached an agreement on this matter. Now that my wife has said this, looking at the eldest brother's expression, she shows disapproval. Of course he knows what the eldest brother thinks. The eldest brother has always been conservative in dealing with everything. They are all done according to their parents' thinking and standards. But the situation is different now. If his son is still awake and standing in front of him alive, he would not make this request, but it is indeed different now. Brother, don't get angry. Since you ask me to speak, I will naturally stand up and say it. Of course, what my wife said represents what I mean. Brother, don't be anxious and don't get angry. Don't be in a hurry to deny my words. Listen to me first. The reason why I made this decision after careful discussion was that there was a reason why I wanted the three families to share the property equally. The old man said before that this property was left to Mo Ting. Is this correct? Song Kingyun nodded. His younger brother did not deny it, which proved that he respected his parents' wishes. My parents have said this more than once. They said that all their property will be left to Song Moding naturally. An uncle like me will not be greedy for my nephew's property. This is a clear position. Yes, my parents said this. Song Lao-san is a little confused about what his second brother is going to do, if he admits it. Then this property belongs to his son Song Moding. Could it be that he thinks that the property rights can belong to his son alone? At that time, this property has nothing to do with my second brother. But he will not deny it. The men of the Song family would not do such a dishonorable thing. Song Moding is also my son, my biological son. Since all these properties can be given to him, why would I disagree? I have some opinions that I must say. If I don't say it, I will feel uncomfortable. Mo Ting is now lying in bed, has become a vegetative state. No one can predict whether or when he will wake up. Zhang Xiaoxiao is still young, so if she wants to leave Mo Ting one day, will we all blame Xiaoxiao? This is human nature, and as Mo Ting's father, I know it in my heart. I can't embarrass Zhang Xiaoxiao, so this property now belongs to Song Moding. As my son, I naturally have to consider his rights and interests. Naturally, I can't hand over this property in the name of Song Moding now. In small hands. Of course, Xiaoxiao, don't think this is my suspicion or distrust of you. This is the last bit of protection I hope I can give my son. Even if any accident happens one day, it can ensure that the children and my son have the ability and foundation to survive. For a moment, everyone was speechless. Indeed, is what Song King he said wrong? That's right. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 799. Chapter 799 Legacy. Song Kingyun didn't know what to say. Brother is right. If he were a father, he would also have such worries. Everyone looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao. Zhang Xiaoxiao stood up and said, Dad, you are right, and your worries are also right. Even if I tell the truth here, I swear to everyone that I will never leave Song Moding and I will be safe. Raise your children up. Perhaps everyone would think that everyone would say this. Song Moding and I have no shortage of these. We all share these properties equally, and I have no objections. The only thing I hope is that I can give this house to Mo Ting. This is the place where the old man and old lady left the most joy or memories. I hope that one day Song Moding can still find memories here when he wakes up. These words made Song Kingyun sad. They are now a family, and this attitude is indeed a bit bullying. To put it bluntly, they bully orphans and widowed mothers. Okay, this house can be owned by me and belongs to Song Moding. Zhang Xiaoxiao sat down. If you really care about these properties and fight these people to the death, that would go against the original intention of the old man and the old lady to live together with Mai Mei as a family. The old man and the old lady have paid too much for her and Song Moding and a lot for the children over the years. In any case, I hope that after their death, this family will not end up in trouble in court because of a little property. How many people would laugh if something like this happened right after the old man passed away? Song's mother sneered, anyone can say that if you are obedient. This little Zhang is used to pretending to fool others. He coaxed the old man and the old lady around, but got no benefits. Now he says this again. He is quite good at being a good person. He said indifferently, brother, Renai Hospital can be considered the old lady's inheritance, right? How to divide it? Many people opened their eyes wide. Who doesn't know that people nowadays love hospitals, and their business is booming? How many people know that Rena Hospital is a business for the upper class, and people who come here are not short of money? Zhang Xiaoxiao suddenly raised his head. Him has given in, obviously not yet satisfying Song's mother's greed. Sometimes it's like this, if you don't fight, others will start to get more and more. In this case, don't blame yourself for being ruthless. If the Song family dares to really care about their wishes, don't blame Zhang Xiaoxiao for taking action. At worst, the fish will die and the net will be broken. Whoever is afraid of losing face will be embarrassed. Song Kingyun slapped the table. Don't make mistakes. Don't you know who owns Rena Hospital? It was founded by Zhang Xiaoxiao and every penny invested in it belongs to Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding. This hospital has nothing to do with the old lady, so don't think about it. This hospital is the private property of Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding, and it will not become the old lady's legacy. I heard the old lady tell me about this in detail. This piece of land even belonged to the Wu family. At that time, in order to thank Zhang Xiaoxiao for curing his grandson's health, he specially sent it as a thank you gift. Do you think these things can be regarded as the property of the Song family? With these words, the depression in Zhang Xiaoxiao's chest was relieved. The Song family is fortunate to have a head who can grasp the direction and not go astray. Otherwise, if the old man and the old lady are gone, the Song family will really fall apart. Song's mother would lose her temper with one of her younger siblings if she kept her mouth shut. If it's not, it's not. I know it myself, but I just want to give it a try. Zhang Xiaoxiao is just a toothless tiger. If she can take the opportunity to get to the hospital, of course she would like it. There is no loss to yourself if you fail. In any case, Zhang Xiaoxiao is disgusting. Brother, if it's not, it's not. Why are you so angry? Mom didn't tell us anything when she was alive. How do we know? You can't blame us. Song Mu's poems are eloquent. Who doesn't know what the old lady and the old man did to me in the past? Divide the property and say it is divided equally among the three families. In fact, Song Kingyun made 3 distributions of property. He distributed the property equally among the 3 families, and then took it upon himself to give Song Kinghe's portion to Song Moding alone. This part must be supervised by him. Song Kinghe wanted to argue, but he also knew that he had insufficient confidence. How I have been treating Song Moding, anyone with long eyes can see it. The eldest brother was afraid that he would turn around and give the property to Song Mohuan. In fact, Song Kinghe really thought so. Song Mohuan is having a hard time now. After Fang Xiaowai became paralyzed, Song Mohuan had to take good care of his paralyzed wife without divorce for the sake of reputation. The problem is that Song Mohuan is a human being, and he will inevitably be criticized if he doesn't go home all day long in the hospital. The result of the discussion between Song Kinghe and Song's mother was that after receiving the inheritance, he would spend a large sum of money to discuss with the Zhang family whether they could take Fang Xiaohui back and divorce Fang Xiaohui and Song Mohuan. Of course, the Zhang family will most likely not be involved in this matter. But there is another person, a member of the Fang family. I heard that Fang Piashong came out. It is said that he was released from prison early due to good behavior. Fang Piashong has no job and relies on his old father to support him. It is said that life is difficult. If the family offered a sum of money, the Fang family and his son would be willing to accept the proposal. At that time, I will find a wife for Song Mohuan. This burden will be taken away and my son can live a normal life. This is the couple's plan. In the end, Song Qingyun obviously saw through their plan. They said it directly and made a written certificate in front of two people. Song Qinghe's properties, including those he received, will be kept in the hands of his husband and wife, and all future income will belong to Song Moding. If Song Moding doesn't wake up one day, these will also belong to Song Moding's children. Song Moding has 5 children after all. The whole family agrees. Song Qingyun's lover naturally agreed. When her husband couldn't wake up at that time, it was Zhang Xiaoxiao who saved her husband. They are not ungrateful people. The reason why he agreed to Song Qinghe's request was that what Song Qinghe said was reasonable and reasonable. Also, they cannot use this property to tie up Zhang Xiaoxiao. Zhang Xiaoxiao is still young, and they all consider that Zhang Xiaoxiao will eventually have his own life in the future. What if one day she meets someone who treats her well, will she be forced to guard Song Moding for the rest of her life? That's inhumane. It is because of consideration that I agree to this proposal. Even if Zhang Xiaoxiao wants to leave one day, no one can give any reason to stop her. They are sincerely thinking about Zhang Xiaoxiao. From beginning to end, Song Qingyun and the others never thought about asking for this money. They will not forget the last wish of the old man and the old lady. Song Moding is the old lady and old man's favorite grandson, and Song Moding deserves all these things. Song Qinghe was so angry that he couldn't speak. Eldest brother has made it clear that he doesn't trust himself. Lao San was still silent. Mother Song saw that her efforts were in vain. But fortunately, I have a lot of extra money in my hand. Even if only a small part falls into their hands. There are actually as many as 300,000. You can imagine how much money the old man and the old lady have. They all benefited from Song Moding. Mother Song felt aggrieved and panicked. How come no one likes my good son? End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 800. Chapter 800 Go Back. Zhang Xiaoxiao saw off the Song family. Song Qingyun patted Jiang's small hands. Child, don't be afraid. You can come to us if you need anything. If you need anything, just ask. We are your uncles and aunts forever. Don't be afraid. I will support you in any matter. Song Qingyun gave Zhang Xiaoxiao reassurance because he was afraid that the child would be disappointed. Zhang Xiaoxiao smiled for the first time since the death of the old lady and the old man. It was very forced, but it was a smile. Uncle. Uncle. I know you have good intentions, for Mo Ting and the children. Don't worry. I will live a good life and take good care of the children. I will also take good care of Mo Ting. I won't let the old man and the old lady worry. The Song family are all gone. Fan Xiuying and Zhang Lishi just came here. Xiao Xiao, go take a nap. You've been exhausted these days. Your dad and I are here. Don't worry. You can do whatever you need to do. Your dad and I have discussed it. From now on, the 3 children will come to our place. Taking care of them, our health and bones are still good, and we have no problem taking care of 3 children. There is no problem. Your parents are here and can solve everything for you. Your parents hope that you will be well. Fan Xiuying cried as she spoke. How could such a good thing happen to my daughter who is such a good person? The son-in-law became a vegetative state. My daughter has to take care of 5 children at a young age, as well as her husband in the hospital bed. Now the only old man and old lady who can protect Zhang Xiaoxiao and the others are gone. Fan Qiuying feels that her daughter's life is too hard. Zhang Xiaoxiao leaned in her mother's arms and closed her eyes. Her mother's arms were so warm. Let her take a rest. Let her take a good rest. He will continue his journey. She had no right to stop. The people she loves are waiting for her to stand up. Zhang Xiaoxiao fell asleep. Fan Qiuying covered her daughter with a towel and quilt, and felt heartbroken when she looked at her daughter who had little flesh on her face. Close the door and wipe away tears quietly. Zhang Lishi sighed, don't cry. The child feels even more uncomfortable when she sees it. We have to help her well for the sake of the child. She is a doctor and has her own career to do. We parents will solve her worries. I'll pick up the children. You can go to the hospital to take care of Mo Ting during the day. Don't let Xiao Xiao worry too much. She is needed in everything. What a child looks like. I feel bad. Zhang Lishi turned around and went out, feeling really uncomfortable. Zhang Xiaoxiao took a long nap. The moment I woke up, my body and mind felt relaxed. Smell the smell of hand-dried noodles made by my mother, and hear the cheerful laughter of children in the yard. Grandma, the hand-rolled noodles you make are so delicious. Recently we have been eating at the restaurant at the entrance of the alley, and I am tired of eating them. Song Ziwen's voice was gentle and quiet, almost the same as his name. Please keep your voice down. Your mother finally got some sleep. Let her sleep well. If she likes to eat, go to grandma's house to eat every day. And from now on, when you get home from school, you can come to grandma's house. Grandma and grandpa will make delicious food for you. It's not easy for your mother to go to work. You have to be obedient. Do you understand? Fan Qiuying whispered to the children. Song Zijing's voice came. Grandma, have my grandparents really passed away? Will they never come back? I miss my grandparents. This sentence made Zhang Xiaoxiao's eyes turn red. Zhang Xiaoxiao collected her emotions. She was now an adult and the backbone of the family. She could not let the whole family fall apart just because of her emotions. I washed my face and went out, and had a joyful meal with the children and parents, even though it was just a simple braised noodles. But I felt satisfied after eating, and my whole body seemed to have relaxed because of this meal. Come back in high spirits. Zhang Xiaoxiao cheered up. He was not alone. There were so many relatives around him helping him. Song Zian has been worried about her mother, because she can see that her mother has been in a bad mood these past few days, and she is very depressed. She is afraid that something will happen to her mother. But now I see my mother smiling, talking, and laughing with them, and knowing how to comfort the children and her own parents. At this moment, Song Zian knew that her mother was back again. Secretly made up his mind to help his mother. In the past, she felt that only her own fighting ability could help her mother find what she needed in that world. But now she suddenly realized that it was her half-heartedness, negligence, and mistakes that caused the death of her grandparents. If she had devoted herself to taking care of her family and solving her mother's worries, why would this have happened today? Song Zian is determined to take good care of her family. She believes Zhang Xiaoxiao can do better. It is quiet in the dead of night. Song Zian slipped into Zhang Xiao's small room. The barefoot girl got into Zhang Xiaoxiao's arms. What's wrong? Can't sleep? Hugging the small body, Zhang Xiaoxiao found it hard to believe that this was the big devil in No 9's mouth. Song Zian closed her eyes. Mom, you went there to start practicing. Those crystals can actually be extracted into substances that improve physical fitness. The peaches have a purifying effect on the extraction of crystals, which can get twice the result with half the effort. You must go to the Red Flame battlefield, there is a lingering scent of number 10 there. Mom, you have S and physical fitness. Only by constantly strengthening your practice can you survive there. I will help you, but you have to rely on your own body. If you are not strong enough, there is nothing I can do. I will stay in your body. The strongest power will not be triggered until life is on the line. The consciousness of the last time has been triggered. Mom, I will protect my sister and grandpa. This time I promise you, I will study hard and wait for you to come back and let Dad wake up. Zhang Xiaoxiao hugged the child tightly. Song Zian was his treasure. I also promise you that I will come back well. The sky is bright. Zhang Xiaoxiao went to the laboratory. She had asked Bai Yi to move her private laboratory to the latest warehouse, where she needed to store all her belongings. She called Mrs. Wu. She still needed Mrs. Wu's help with some connections. 3 days later, one after another, the warehouse was filled with various medical equipment and instruments. The reserves are astonishing. What is even more puzzling is that there are a large number of books and textbooks on medical knowledge. Zhang Xiaoxiao closed the door. No one else was here except her, and only her fingerprint system could enter or exit. Bai Yi didn't know what she was going to do, but Bai Yi said that no matter what Zhang Xiaoxiao did, she would be Zhang Xiaoxiao's best support. Bai Yi is now the director of Rena Hospital. He is also responsible for taking care of the Zhang family and Zhang Xiaoxiao's 3 children. The 2 brothers, Baizai and Tang Yuan, haven't come back yet. Zhang Xiaoxiao returned to the world. As soon as I came back, I saw that my house was in a mess. There was a mess all over the ground, so I hurriedly walked out. There seems to have been a battle here. Zhang Xiaoxiao came to the corridor and went to the clinic at the exchange center. People were in a hurry along the way. When I came to the clinic, I saw a room full of people moaning in pain. End of this chapter.